Hello friends, Jay the Silent Cartographer here, and today I would like to introduce you to a series here on my YouTube channel, the first series of videos that I'm going to attempt to produce. This series is going to be creating an adventure that you can publish or sell online. The goal of this video series is to equip you with the tools that you need to create a successful adventure from a writer's standpoint, more so than a DM's standpoint. Now, the first video in this series has already come out, which is how to brainstorm and outline an idea. And video is a bit of a mess, I have to admit. I think it's like 45 minutes long. It's called Making a Low-Level Adventure Part 1. I'm repurposing that video for this series because it actually outlines the adventure that I have chosen to attempt to publish, which is what I have named the Bandits in the Mines of Aramore, a low-level adventure about bandits in the mines of Aramore. I'm not very creative. And so I just figured that I would make this video first to introduce you to every video that's going to be coming in this 14-part series, 13 if you exclude the video that has already come out. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. So the first video, the one that's already out, is coming up with a good idea and brainstorming and workshopping that idea. This one you can go and watch right now over on the channel. The second video in this series is going to be about the essential information you need to provide to other people when making an adventure to sell. This is stuff like what is included inside of your adventure, what level is this adventure from, what's a basic plot synopsis of your adventure, etc. You need to provide essential information so that people looking at your listing know that this is something they're either interested in or not really interested in picking up. And being accurate with that, being whole in the amount of information that you're giving, is essential in order to make your product succeed. And so I'm going to be going through and I'm going to be creating that plot synopsis and those essential bits of information and compiling them into a short blurb that I can use to sell this adventure. And so that's going to be coming up next. That's going to be the second video in the series. The third video is going to be a longer video about creating a readable plot structure. What's a readable plot structure? Well, a readable plot structure is taking all of your campaign notes, all of the story beats that must be hit, and boiling them. Taking out all the fluff, taking out all the BS, and giving other dungeon masters the road that you traveled. And to that end, you want to make it as broad as possible. You want to encapsulate and include all the potential things that the players could do that would drastically change the results of your encounters. And you want to guide the DM through this. A great example is from the Bandits in the Mines of Aramore, the adventure that I wrote in my outline. The players arrive at the town of Aramore. It's being sacked by bandits. Well, it's not in the process of being sacked by bandits, but the surrounding farmsteads are being sacked by bandits. The mayor asks them to deal with the bandits. The lord asks them to deal with the bandits, and they are given a choice. Well, they're not given a choice, but they're allowed to make a choice, and that choice is, do the players go to the farmlands and wait for the bandits to arrive, fighting them at the farm? Or do the players attempt to find the bandits' hideout and attack them before they get the chance to jump on the farm? These are two completely different sets of encounters. One takes place in a fortress or a cave, and the other takes part defending a city. So you need to provide context for both of these very realistic solutions in case either of them come up, and so that is creating a readable plot structure. The next video, video number 4, is going to be about creating NPCs, or non-player characters. Now, there are dozens of videos on YouTube on how to make an interesting and dynamic NPC. However, this isn't going to be like those videos. This video is going to be talking about making an NPC that is open, that is broad, that has room to grow in complexity. These are NPCs that are designed for anybody to be able to grab control of in an instant and figure out what makes them tick. This is the things that they know, the secrets that they might give to the party. This is their general temperament towards the party. This is what secrets that they have in their own inner monologue that they won't share with the party. Maybe what items they have on them in case they're a vendor or the PCs want to rob them blind. NPCs being created for an adventure have to adhere to very specific rules, and those rules are generally that they can't be too complex, that nobody but you can run them. And so I'm going to make a video about making broad NPCs that are still interesting within the narrative. Video number 5 is going to be a video about choosing monsters and encounters. Once you've written out all of the beats that your story should follow, how do you know what monsters to put where? How do you know how to make random encounters? How do you know what enemies the enemy force, whatever that force would bring to bear against the players? And actually, I'm just going to add another video in here. Making a video on creating the monster that you need. And so after we choose the monsters, we're going to create those monsters, partially because I want to make this compliant with the Open Games license, the OGL from Wizards of the Coast, partially because I think it's a valuable video. So video number 6 is going to be a video on creating the monster that you need for your campaign. In this case, we're probably going to make some bandits. The next thing is that we are going to take a deep dive. This is one of the videos I'm super excited about, on creating a balanced encounter. Now, this is going to be told through the lens of D&D 5e. However, this adventure is very broad, and it can easily encapsulate any fantasy or even sci-fi or hell, even realistic RPG styles. The plot doesn't require D&D to function, and so it can be used anywhere. But for this particular video, for building a balanced encounter, I'm going to be taking my shovel and I'm going to be digging to the center of the earth, and on the way we're going to talk about challenge rating. We're going to talk about encounter balance. We're going to talk about map balance when it comes to certain enemy types. We're going to talk about the action economy, the turn economy. We're going to talk about spellcasters and the spell economy. We're going to talk about items and the specific role that they play, traps, rest economy, which is something that's never brought up in balancing an adventure, is where's the party likely to rest? When are they going to get their tools back? When can you let them rest, and when are you going to punish it? How do you run random encounters? How do you do X, Y, and Z? Where should you place traps? How powerful should those traps be? And should you put them in fights? All of this stuff is about building a balanced encounter, and the encounter is not just the battle that the players are currently in. If the players enter a cave and that cave is full of kobolds, the whole cave is an encounter in a sense. It's dynamic, it's alive, it breathes, and it changes, and getting that balance just right is hard. And it's doubly hard if you are one of the people who, it's very common, if you're one of the people who thinks in terms of every individual combat encounter being completely disconnected from the last, and that's just not how adventures work. So I'm super excited to bring you the video about building a balanced encounter. After we build our balanced encounter, we're going to make a video about loot pools. Do you use a random table? What items should you be giving to your party at what level and why? What items would make sense for certain enemies to have? How do you deal with treasure rooms and secret areas that might give the party an edge, a bigger item? How to create items that work with your narrative, that, like, say for instance, behind a secret crevice in the wall is a amulet of fire resistance, and you're fighting a red dragon in your next encounter. How do you plan stuff like that? That's all about loot pools, and so we're going to do a whole video on loot pools. After that, we're going to make a video about making encounter maps. And along with this, there are 5 unique maps that are going to be included in Bandits in the Mines of Aramore. I am going to be producing full-length daily map style encounter map building videos that will be tied to this series, but that is not going to be the making a video about the encounter maps video, because those videos are going to take a while. I imagine that each encounter map is probably going to take me around 2 to 3 hours to make, and nobody wants to sit through hundreds and hundreds of hours of map making to get the theories that I'm going to be presenting you in just a simple video. So I'm probably going to make all 5 of those maps, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a video about making all those maps, what they entailed, how I made them interesting, why I made certain decisions, etc. Then we're going to make a video about making puzzles. We are going to create a puzzle together that we can employ in our game that will work whether or not the players are physically at the table or on Roll20 like my players are. This adventure is going to be played by my players, and so I have to come up with a puzzle that can be done through Roll20. And so I'm going to be creating a puzzle with you guys in a video that will work both online and in real life. a video about making magic items, balanced magic items, taking party into consideration, taking various things. Yes, Corridor Digital. They just launched a new website. You should go check it out if you haven't. They're awesome CGI artists and fellow YouTube nerds. But yeah, we're going to make a video about magical items. We are going to balance magic items. We're going to create magic items. We're going to decide whether or not these magic items have a semblance of anything to do with the quest. One of them does, one of them does not. I'll spoil it for you. So we're going to look at both sides of things. We're going to look at balancing those items, what they can do, what you shouldn't do with magic items, etc. Then we are going to be getting into the publishing stage. And this is the really, really, really exciting part of this for me, because, see, I used to make adventures for my friendly local game store back when I lived in Connecticut, back when I lived in New Hampshire, and back when I lived in Massachusetts, where I would type up these little leaflets for adventures for people to run, and we'd put them out on the on the dice and figurine stands for people just to pick up and take. And I found great fun in it. And part of what I learned during that process was how to playtest at friendly local game stores. Now, unfortunately, everyone's friendly local game store is currently not open. And the reason for that is very serious. We have a global health pandemic. That being said, there are many different ways to network. There are many different ways to get playtesters for role-playing games, fellow dungeon masters willing to give you a hand. And those are Discord communities, other YouTube communities, Reddit communities. And so I'm going to be going through my process of playtesting my game, because when you playtest your game, do not run the game yourself. You know your adventure better than any other person does. If you want to know if you did a good job with your published adventure, give it to somebody who's never DM'd before and watch them fall through it and see if they can keep it on track. Barring that, give it to somebody who's an accomplished dungeon master who's run many different adventures and see if they can navigate through it properly. Afterwards, I'm going to be compiling all of the notes that I get back from people, and I'm going to make a video talking about how to take criticism on your adventure and how to weed out bad criticism from good criticism, valid critique versus just whining, and also finding your author voice and knowing when to compromise on something or when you want to put your foot down and go to bat for a creative idea that you had. So criticisms on adventures, that's going to be the third to last video. Second to last video is going to be a video researching and publishing the adventure. This is going to be a video that covers all the different publishing services. At the moment, I believe I only know of two, which are Drive-Thru-RPG and the DM's Guild. I could, of course, also self-publish on Amazon, but I don't think I would ever do that for something like this. Maybe someday, if I make like 10 of these, I will create a little booklet that I can put up on Amazon, like a soft cover or a PDF. Excuse me. But I'm going to make a video about researching and publishing my adventure and seeing how I decide pricing, how I decide where I'm going to be hosting it. And honestly, I'm probably going to make this a pay as you please or pay what you wish, which is essentially saying I'm going to be giving it away for free adventure. But we'll see what happens as we get closer to that finale. And then finally, I want to make a video where I sit back and I reflect and I go on a retrospective rant on everything that I learned from publishing the Bandits in the Mines of Aramore here on the internet. So yeah, that is going to be it. That is going to be the, I think, 14, now 15 video series that will make up the Bandits in the Mines of Aramore video. And who knows, if this adventure really seems cool, if it really seems like something that people enjoy, then maybe I will actually put some of my old ideas to paper, and maybe I will make a little compilation pamphlet with some low-level adventures, some high-level adventures, some filler adventures for your players to go on. If you enjoyed this video and you're hyped as I am to get into these long-winded rants on various video and D&D topics, feel free to leave a like, and don't forget, of course, to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss when these videos come out. The second video should probably come out tomorrow. I have everything written, but as it is currently, as you see down here, 1:40 in the morning, and I have some work I have to get done tomorrow, I should probably get to bed. So I'm probably going to record this and publish it tomorrow, if not sometime in the next couple of days. The readable plot structure video will come once I've finished writing the entire plot synopsis out. Probably before the copy editing stage, when I go back and I really nail down the grammar and the language that I want to use. Maybe I'll make a video on copy editing, but I don't think anybody really cares about grammar. NPCs video will come out once I go over the whole plot structure, because I want everyone to be on the same page. I want everyone to understand the flow of the adventure before we start populating the world with NPCs. Then all the monster encounter videos are going to be made pretty rapidly back to back, I think, because I have a lot to say on those topics. The encounter maps videos will take a while because I have to go sit down and make 5 detailed encounter maps that are genuinely the best work I can do. The puzzle video could come at any time. The magic items is probably going to come after the loot pools video or somewhere around there. The playtesting and taking criticism videos are going to happen on probably some of the last videos. And then the publishing video is going to be the last one. And then the retrospective is either going to be well afterwards, or it's going to be like a live stream or something once I have a couple of people who have read my adventure. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I know I'm repeating myself, but if you did enjoy the video, leave me a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave me a thumbs down. If you want to see more, click the subscribe button, and if you want to make sure you catch all these videos when they go live, hit the little bell thing, and I will obnoxiously pop up in your subscriptions tab. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing 1:42 in the morning. I really need to go to bed.